Thank you. Thank you.
It looks amazing, Chris. Ricky's got some behind him too. He's just not showing them.
He's flying through the metaverse.
Yep. Hey, Jane, thanks for being here. And Spencer, yay. Hi, Spencer. Thanks for joining. All right. We're getting a crowd coming now, Lisa.
Awesome. We'll give folks a few minutes to join. So excited that everyone's here. I'm just getting all my technology figured out. Doesn't mean there won't be hiccups. There tends to be with these live situations, especially when we're talking about immersive tech. Excited about where we're going to go today.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and reshare my screen. And we've just got a few minutes of slides, hopefully, and then we're going to roll our sleeves up and get started and start jumping into experiences here.
Beautiful.
All righty. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Sure can.
Awesome. Good. Well, first of all, I want to welcome everybody, especially if you haven't been here before. My name is Lisa Payton. As Billy said, Billy and I are best friends. We're besties, but we're more than that. She is a mentor, and I admire her marketing chops greatly. I've been privileged enough to work with her now for, I don't know how many, you're going on 6 years or some 7 years maybe. I was at Intel for 5, but I also ran my own agency for over a decade, and I've been in the immersive tech space for a very long time. I started back in 2006 with immersive tech and have just been tuned in ever since, and now it's having its moment. I'm not going to miss it. It's kind of amazing. So the way this works, and I'm going to let Billy introduce herself, but we have a few minutes of an intro and notes, and then we've got 2 platforms that we're going to demo today. And Billy, you go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks that I think everyone knows you, but
Yeah, well, Lisa skipped the latest part that she is now a professor at the University of Oregon and teaching immersive tech, right? I mean, that's where her journey has taken her, which is just amazing. And so she really stays up to date on what is happening in this space, and she keeps me in the know so I can be innovative. And so this is why Lisa and I really connect, quite frankly. I myself have been at Intel since 1995, done everything from PR to product marketing to sales to brand strategy, and repeatedly come back to the co-marketing space as I have the most fun here and I have the most money. I have 23 Cannes Lions and a Daytime Emmy from my co-marketing efforts. And my goal is always to be, first and innovative and breakthrough. And really, that's my goal. And so this is why Lisa and I are paying very, very close attention to the metaverse particularly. And there's a lot of confusion out there. And so we want to, bring the marketing world along with us to kind of explore what's possible, in the metaverse. Who's doing activations here, who's doing them well, or maybe not. This is not official for me. This is just a pure passion project. So my opinions are not Intel's opinions, let me just say.
Yeah, and my opinions are definitely not Intel's opinions, let me just say. So get that out of the way right up front.
Yep.
Nor any other enterprise's opinions, I should add, as we go in through today, especially. So at the end of our last pub crawl that we had, which you can watch the on-demand version on YouTube if you missed it, we did have a request to talk more about B2B, and I'm thrilled to talk about immersive B2B. And so really the focus today is talking about immersive B2B, the metaverse from a B2B perspective, and what's being done today, really. And that's the kind of the lens we're throwing on our discussion today. That being said, we can talk about whatever you want, and this is super interactive. I love that many of you have your cameras on. Stop me at any point. You can just unmute and ask a question. You can ask a question in chat. Engage however you like. This is super, like we're sitting around, a fire pit or some such thing and having a drink. So a couple of things that I wanted to bring into the conversation. There's some news items I wanted to chat about. And in my opinion, when we think about B2B technology, a big question is, where's the money? And so we're going to kind of start there. Where's the money? Who's investing in the metaverse? And who do we kind of need to be paying attention to from a business perspective? And I have opinions on that. And hopefully some of you might have opinions on that as well. I've found three what I'm going to call effective use cases for enterprise and examples. We'll chat about those. And then we've got our TouchCast demo, which Ricky is here. I saw Ricky, yes, with his amazing background. And we've got Allspace that we're going to jump into. So if some of you, I think many of you weren't here last time. So just very quickly to get this out of the way, everyone has a different definition of metaverse, really, I have found. And so this is mine. And in my vocabulary, the metaverse doesn't exist yet. I view the metaverse really more as a universe of interoperable and interconnected worlds. And we're just not there yet. Right now, we're at a place where everything that I consider to be a social immersive community is really more of a virtual world rather than a metaverse. So I tend to use that terminology. Now, some of you very well may disagree with me. Most of the media does disagree with me, and that there are press releases that go out every day saying that so-and-so is in the metaverse, whether it's, Lowe's or Salesforce or fill in the blank of your favorite brand, and everyone's in there, but what are they doing? That's another question. Billy, anything you want to add around any of
you covered that well.
Definitions? And the other thing I like, so there's metaverse, which doesn't exist, it's aspirational, and then we've got virtual worlds, which 3D spaces where people can interact with one another, and then we've got a virtual space, and this is more kind of a very broad, like the broadest definition of some sort of environment. It doesn't necessarily need to be open to the public. It can be a walled garden and can be closed off. And so, I consider a world to be more open and a virtual space to be potentially maybe more closed, i.e. you may not get a lot of foot traffic, right, in a virtual space. So these are just some key terms so that you know what I'm talking about and kind of where I'm coming from, and everyone, can agree with me or not. I don't equate the metaverse with VR. I think VR is a technology and the metaverse is, again, doesn't exist yet, but these two things are different. And this kind of explains, in my view, kind of how they're different. And please, I talk really fast. I'm amped up on matcha, so just stop me if you have any questions or anything else. Oh, is that a blank slide? Wonder what was there. Okay. Oh no, I see in the news. All right. Well, just very quickly, I wanted to bring up, Billy and I have decided to kind of divide and conquer some of the associations and groups out there that are dedicated to this technology. I am a part of the VR AR Association, and to that end, just sharing with you that it is it's a great organization. They have a Seattle and a San Francisco branch. They do not have a Portland branch, as far as I know, yet. It's a cool group to get involved with, especially if you're looking for vertical specific industry contacts. They've got a retail forum, they've got a healthcare forum, they've got an enterprise forum, education forum, all these awesome groups that are dedicated to specific verticals. And so I highly recommend, if this is something that speaks to you and you want to network and get to know some awesome people, you might want to consider the VR AR Association and their Seattle, reactivating their Seattle chapter. So if that's something that is interesting to you, that event is happening. And then Billy, I'll let you talk about, and Billy is taking on the Standards Forum.
The Metaverse Standards Forum. So this is a new forum. It just launched in June of this year. They already have over 1,500 members to date. And they're really getting organized at the moment. They're really developing basically their groups. There's representation, across the board as far as, all the big players. They are meeting every 2 weeks-ish. They are, moving back and forth between Asia and Europe as far as timing is concerned. And those working groups are forming quickly. And so they have, in addition to, speakership opportunities and really kind of identifying who can speak on these topics, they're also starting to identify all the metaverse related activities, events that are out there. And so I made sure to capture this link here so that you guys could have it. But basically, this will take you to the Metaverse Standards Forum event site, and we have a list of those on the next page. But key to note is this is getting a lot of attention and a lot of news. They see this as the wild, wild west, and this, Standards Forum is coming in to kind of organize everybody so everybody can work together. And I'm quite excited about it, though it's extremely technical and quite boring at the moment.
For you, it's not
For
boring for
me,
everyone.
I know. It's very tech heavy,
Some people love it.
that piece is needed, exactly. But I do love that they are capturing what events are available. You can see that they have a running list here that they're crowdsourcing to really kind of bring together. And so this is a link that you can, go and plunk around with if you like. And please join.
Yeah, awesome, Billy. Anybody else have any other groups that they think are worth mentioning in the immersive tech space for marketing and comms? Anything come to mind? Feel free to shout it out if there is something. There's many groups springing up all over the place. So the first piece of news, $13 trillion opportunity. Need I say more? That's basically all I'm going to say.
This is why there's so much news.
Yeah.
Everybody's jumping in.
Everybody's jumping in. That's that. I thought this was interesting. Again, when I think about following the money, I want to know who's investing. These are the big players according to this post. Microsoft at the very top. And a few things hit me. Do I have the next? And then the top 5 stocks to invest in is also kind of a nice kind of thing to think about as we think about B2B, particularly in the metaverse. But the first thing that struck me with this is, okay, who of these players that are listed here are really kind of B2B focused? Who are the players that as a B2B marketer I would think about? And it screams, right? We all know who it is. The big blankety blank at the table is Microsoft.
Yep.
And to be super transparent, I'm not and have not been a fan, frankly, of Microsoft. However, they're crushing it when it comes to this stuff, man. They really are. And I can talk about why I think that, and we'll talk about it as we go on. But Meta, no, there's no way that any enterprise today would ever trust their customers, partners, anything with Facebook. Meta.
Nope,
I mean,
and they're making all the same mistakes everybody has made before them.
So I think, in my view, I just rule them out. Now I'm super opinionated. I can see some of your videos are on, and I'm seeing I'm seeing this. So feel free to say no, you're so wrong, because I'm sure that I could be, but I don't see Meta doing anything in the B2B space, frankly. Google's another interesting story, and I was actually reflecting upon this today. Does anybody remember Google Lively? Am I the only nerd that remembers Google Lively? Google Lively, you remember, was their take at an immersive space back like in 2006. And I was
before its time.
But they've always been ahead of their time. And I went in, so I was I got started with Second Life back in the day, and that's how I got drawn into all this stuff. And Google Lively was like, this SL that Google made, and I think it was open for, I don't know, probably open for less than a year, and then they shut it down. And
Google Glass too.
And Google Glass. So they have a history, right, of projects that haven't gone so well. However, that being said, they're totally investing, and they've been a little bit buttoned up. Does anybody know or have news, some of you that are willing to share, on what Google's stake in the metaverse is going to be?
Any ideas?
At Google I/O, they announced immersive view with Google Maps, which was interesting. It's like kind of dipping their toe in it, but in a cool at scale way.
Yeah.
So for any of you that didn't see that update, basically they're going to have digital twins of key cities and landmarks. So at like the sky view level, you'll be able to have a digital twin of the city. But the cool thing is they're using AI to take the user-generated photos of restaurants to create digital twins of the inside of different locations.
Oh, that's
so when you do street view, you can actually go inside of the place and check it out instead of
that's so smart.
Oh my God! I had this idea a decade ago, more than a decade ago. But now the
technology's caught up.
Is really here to do it. So that's exciting, and I'm sure that's going to be super fun and interesting, and somewhat maybe needed. But that's such a different take, right, on the metaverse. It's such a very functional, real world
use case
thing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but in terms of marketing, obviously there will be opportunities there, right?
Audience
for sure.
is built in and ready.
And then NVIDIA, right? Good old NVIDIA, who also, I have to say, are really investing heavily in their Omniverse. And I have another, actually, this might be a really good time for me to segue to this. And, it's going to be interesting. And I don't know how many here are familiar with NVIDIA and what they're bringing to the table, but they're really doubling down. And in fact, Ricky, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your tool, TouchCast, is built with some of NVIDIA's tools for content developers. Is that true?
Lots of overlap for sure. We don't exclusively work with them. We also do a lot of work with Epic Games Unreal Engine for a lot of the 3D building. But yeah, we're very, very close with NVIDIA and Omniverse as well.
And one key question that I had, and I don't know if anybody here knows the answer to this, but so NVIDIA is putting a lot of their chips behind this universal scene description, and they describe this as the kind of the 3D HTML, right? This is why they are leading the charge on that standards forum that Billy is involved with, because they really want this universal scene description thing to fly and to be the HTML. Yeah. The interesting thing about this is that Microsoft, who also, I must say, wants to own the metaverse with everything they're doing with Microsoft Mesh, doesn't talk at all about universal scene description. And I have no idea how these two things are going to play. And I'm just wondering, and this is a question, is this going to turn into the infamous, Betamax VHS situation where we're going to have NVIDIA putting all of their energy and time behind universal scene description, and then we've got Microsoft who's, has Mesh and is going their direction? I don't know. I tried to find out. Yes, Spencer, you've got a hand up. Tell me what's happening. Tell me what's happening.
Hi, everybody. I would say that the USDZ and USD are file formats only, and they're great for, well, they're not great right now for moving between applications, and but I don't think that they're. What I'm hearing you say is that USD would be kind of the de facto scene descriptor for the metaverse. It's just someone wants to do that, and I don't see that happening. I just as much as I don't see PNG, JPEG, and GIF with a hard G being ubiquitous and only being one of those file formats on the web, right? I mean, it's one of the descriptors.
Yeah, if I would add to that, I would say GLTFs are kind of winning the standards across most of the metaverse experiences.
They are.
USD, though, to Spencer's point, is developed from Pixar originally, and it's Apple's main format for everything they do on AR on all their devices. So I agree with Spencer. It's a PNG versus JPEG.
Yeah.
They should actually all support all of them.
Apple needs to get off its butt and get on with Web 3D though, because I mean, it's gonna get passed up if they don't start pushing that stuff out into the web. It's gonna, we're not going to use it. I'm not going to use it right now. I have clients right now who want me to do a thing with the iPhone that I can't do because Apple is like holding all of the cards on Web 3D, on App Web 3D, and so it's like, okay, well, great. I guess we'll use Android devices then. It's like,
man, what a limiting factor. Oh,
it's a small world. I just realized that Spencer Lindsay from Magic Leap. So Magic Leap acquired one of my startups 2018, Computes Inc. Spencer, I don't know if you remember the decentralized supercomputer. I think you and I did we're like ships in the night.
I love it. Making connections. That's so wonderful.
And I just want to say thank you to Bobby for inviting me. This is really cool.
Yay. You got it. And it's Billy, but that's okay. You'd be surprised how many people call me Billy Bob.
Bobby Bill Bobby. We had.
I appreciate that we've got these amazing, both of you, Chris and Spencer, who are so technically savvy and obviously much more so probably than I. But when I think about, I was a web builder back in the day, and so obviously the internet needs a standard way to read content, thus HTML. and
metaverse standards. Yes.
And NVIDIA is definitely, I mean, they're talking, I mean, they're saying that this USD is the HTML. And so when I hear you say that there are varying formats, don't we need some like a standardized framework in order for us to have that aspirational metaverse that we all want, where it's interoperable and we can all just jump around all these amazing places?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
It's not going to happen though. I mean,
it's like, yes, we do need that.
Everyone wants to own that thing that we all.
And it won't happen, right? Yeah.
So
I think that yes. USD wants to be a full scene descriptor with cameras and lights and the ability to carry actions and behaviors and materials and all of the pieces that will make up a 3D world. And just like HTML is just the code right now that we use to call CSS and JavaScript and all of these other little pieces, you know, maybe it will be the HTML, but that doesn't mean it's going to be everything. It's not like we're going to be using Flash ever again.
Oh,
right?
good God.
Yeah.
Good God. Yeah, no. Well, thank you for that. I think that's super insightful and helpful for me to try to wrap my head around all these different kind of technologies and how they play together. And then, you know, just a few more. Microsoft Mesh, for those that may not know, that may not be quite as technically savvy as some of the others here, it's Microsoft's suite of tools that's going to be integrating with Teams to bring immersive technology into the workspace. And they're going big and they're going hard. And I've got some great examples here of some of the cool stuff that they're doing. But I mean, this visual says it all. I mean, they are promising that you'll be able to attend meetings as your avatar and that you will seamlessly be able to jump from Teams into a 3D environment so you can collaborate with your peers remotely, immersively. So that's exciting. And I just
Bill Gates came out with a statement, something like he predicted in like 5 years, something like 70% of remote meetings are going to be in the metaverse.
Oh my Lord.
Astounding. I mean, Bill Gates is a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, exactly. And he knows where Microsoft is going. And we're building to that story exactly, Adam, because there is a lot that Microsoft is involved in. Lisa, if you go back a slide, you know, I just want to talk about this environment for a second. Like, we're also used to Teams. We're also used to being in here. And so, you know, you see, you know, it's a Teams environment. It's a mixed environment, you know, as far as real people and your alt VR kind of, you know, person. It's quite beautiful. And when you think about Microsoft, right? Microsoft owns Teams, right? Microsoft owns LinkedIn, right? There is something happening here where, you know, worlds are kind of colliding and connecting, and huge opportunity, right? That Microsoft's sitting on, I think, in the enterprise space specifically.
Oh, yeah.
To Adam's point, my team, I work in the incubator inside of Intel, the IDI incubator team. I'm an entrepreneur in residence now. We meet weekly in Meta's workrooms as a team. And it is so, say what you want about Facebook. I don't like them either, but it is a cool experience. Spatial audio, a big whiteboard you can get up and write on. Your Mac monitor is in VR, you know, like 3 times larger than your monitor.
Yeah. Are you wearing a headset to do it?
You do. But
I mean, how long can you wear a headset? I mean, after an hour, I'd like give up.
You can join in like as a remote attendee and you look like this, like 2D, you're on a 2D wall in the metaverse space.
Okay. Now we're talking.
It is kind of cool.
Yeah. I need to play with that more.
Okay, I have just 2 things I need to say right now. This Microsoft Mesh image that you have here is missing the point of a 3D avatar, because it is a 3-dimensional avatar of someone that's rendered as a 2D image and then put on a Brady Bunch grid, like we're all used to seeing things. There's no value add there.
Yet,
at all.
you know, they own Alt VR though. Microsoft owns Alt VR, right? There's only 100,000.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm just saying that the way that this is presented, it doesn't give me any reason to do that, other than maybe I want to look like Scully from the X-Files. You know, like I don't.
Well, Spencer, in the article, the value add that they talk about is, oh yeah, they actually have a quote from someone. Oh, this morning I woke up and just felt like staying in my bathrobe. I didn't feel like being on cam, so I had my avatar step in.
Yeah, I can get that.
Being on cam all day, every day in meetings sucks.
It does suck. I hate looking at myself. And really, everybody asks me, where's the purple in your hair? And it's like, God damn it, I just haven't gotten around to putting it in. Stop hassling me.
So you may not see any value, but there is some value.
I get it. I have one more thing, and then I have a tendency to over talk in meetings. So people give me the High-Stein quickly, because I'll just do it.
Spencer, before you go, I just want to say, this is Jane. Sorry, I have to have my camera off because I just don't feel like putting it on. But I think your point is an excellent point, and there is value, but it's not the value that the metaverse actually brings. I mean, there's so much more value than, you know, this is just
it's just a step away from the metaverse, though, because they own Alt VR. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I think that's an excellent point. Thank you for me.
Okay, and to that point, I just real quick wanted to say, we have just worked for the past 2 years on a project for a company called Brand Live up here, and it's this thing called Telly Club. And it was the brainchild of Sam Colbert-Heil, who did Smarsh, and then he was with a bunch of other things. And so, and we basically built this thing from scratch. If you go to tellyclub.com, and you can basically, yes, kind of like what's going on there with the Together mode, except that you are one of 12 robots that we built using GLTF. It's all web 3D. There's no app. You log in. We use Play Canvas to do it. The reason I'm bringing this up is because one of the things that I constantly am hearing from people who are involved in meetings is that, yeah, they're cool and fun in VR, but you don't get that visceral there-ness that we're actually getting more of right now, because I can see your faces and I can see whether or not Adam is like going, yeah, or he's like, yeah, you know. And so there, it's goofy as hell, and you know, but the technology is there. We're all going through Amazon, and we've got all these different servers running. We can spin up a whole bunch of rooms, and we've got video. We can do a screen share on a Polygon, and you can check it out. So just go check out Telly Club when you have some time.
Yeah.
I was trying to, when we were building this for them, I was trying to get rid of that, like, talking to a mannequin face thing, and get that visceral micro expression thing. And now I'm going to shut the heck up.
No worries. I love it. And, you know, we're going to be making that point again later, actually, about networking in particular.
So jump into the teams. We're going to try out Together mode. Can everybody hear me? Jump in. Let's do it. We need 5 people to try Together mode. I want to try it. And I'm curious to see what this group thinks of it, whether it's a waste of time or whether it's cool. So Billy will fire up the meeting. I put the link to the Teams meeting in chat. I'm going to mute and turn off my video here so I can turn it on in Teams, and hopefully I'll see y'all there.
Are coming in.
All right, people are coming in. All right, people are coming in. All right, people are coming in. People need to mute their other cameras. People need to mute.
It's a really great feedback. It's a really great feedback.
Okay, excellent. So I'm curious how many people have actually used Together mode before. Maybe raise your hand if you can in Teams. Does everybody know how to do that?
I'm hearing you twice, Billy, everywhere.
Yeah, I am hearing myself twice too. And I'm on mute on my side. I'm not sure why we're hearing me twice. It's kind of annoying. All right. So
Sounds
Lisa,
like a remix.
yeah, it totally does. Lisa, you're on mute. You're on mute, honey.
Billy, that's the hook. You're on mute, honey. I could totally see that turn into a house. You're on mute, honey. I could totally see that.
So what's happening is
How do you make
all
that
on
big?
Zoom? That's
How do
where
you
we
make
started
the-
meeting, but they're moving us to team. And then I have it muted on.
Maybe everybody should mute everywhere.
Maybe everybody should mute everywhere.
I'm getting out of my Zoom.
Okay.
Zoom.
Some people have
Okay.
used this before. It looks
Some
like
people have used this before. It looks like Darren has used it.
Okay, here I am in. Okay, here I am in. Can you hear Teams out of Zoom? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, it's just really, really old.
So
But I'm really, really old.
So
But I'm not here.
if everybody clicks on the more button, and if you go down in the options, you'll see together mode.
Not seeing it.
Click on together mode.
I don't have it.
you don't have it.
I have it.
I don't have
You
it.
don't have it. Interesting.
I don't
Okay,
have it
Lisa,
either.
are you showing in the Zoom meeting?
No, I definitely don't have it on my more. No, I definitely don't have it on my. I've seen it before, but I don't have it on this version.
So if you go back over to
Zoom,
Lisa should be showing it. So for how many people are actually seeing the together mode? Excellent. Thanks, Chris.
excellent. Thanks, Chris.
All right, Jane is seeing it
Kelly.
now.
Well, I
All right,
see it.
Jane,
I
see
see it
now.
in.
Excellent.
I'll tell you what, let's hop back over to the
I'll tell you what, let's hop back over to the Zoom call because this audio thing is really a problem. We can talk about this environment. I'm going to leave now. Go back over to Zoom.
I don't even know what I'm talking on.
That was super exciting. Love, love, love. That was so fun. So Billy and I didn't even have a chance to test that. And this is like us being daring before this thing. So we're like, let's just do it. But yeah, I mean, every enterprise account of this Microsoft Teams potentially could use that, but I've not seen anybody use it. Has anybody seen any enterprise ever use it? I'm seeing shaking heads.
I have not seen anyone using it. But it's really an interesting thing if, the audio problem wasn't there. But really, I mean, I loved looking at everybody that way. Is it any different, though, than looking at it, with all of us with different backgrounds? It's just a background. So I can see why many people aren't using it.
Well, there is and I'll say my pal Jeremy Bailenson, who's in academia, just wrote a great book, talks about the research that says that this setup, when you can do it like that, helps prevent Zoom fatigue and all sorts of other things that aren't great for people that are in meetings all day. So you can take a look at the, is that the article? No, that's not the article that's talking about it, but I can send the link out, but it was and that might be the article actually, where they quote him. And I respect Jeremy Bailenson, and he seems to find some value in this. I like it. It's definitely not the metaverse, and it's immersive light. I'm
immersive light, and it's available today. It's immediate, right? We all use Teams. It's available to us. James, I have to ask you and put you on the spot. I'm so sorry. Do you guys use together mode?
I think we have tried it internally just for our own meetings. I
Yeah.
don't think we've involved any partners in a together mode for any of the meetings yet.
But you do use it internally.
Yeah, very rarely though. Usually for some of our bigger meetings internally interactive, like our big, monthly or every 3 months meeting, I've seen that used.
How interesting. How interesting. So there's Microsoft is using it. That's who's using it.
Yeah.
James, are you aware of anybody else using it? Yeah. No. Really, I mean, I just learned it even existed, and it's like, holy cow, I had no idea. I think this is fascinating.
Well, I'm mindful of time, and our time is quickly running out. So I want to get to the next thing, and let's set this up. So the next thing that I want to chat about is TouchCast, and we've got Ricky here who is on the TouchCast team. The reason that we are talking about this, there are a few reasons. Number one, it integrates with Microsoft Teams and is built on Azure. So at this point, if you're not Microsoft ready, you're dead to me when I'm thinking of B2B.
In the enterprise space, yeah.
You are dead to me in the enterprise space, yeah. So anyways, that's kind of the table stakes, right? And they have some really great partners that they are bringing to the table, Accenture, NVIDIA, and Microsoft being some, and then there are others too, that they're working with all the right people. And I call this, Ricky, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I call this a B2B Enterprise 2.5D virtual event platform. This is not a metaverse because the metaverse doesn't exist, but even if it did, and I don't call this a virtual world either, this really is a walled garden. And I'm going to turn it over now. I've given Ricky 7 minutes. Ricky and Billy have 7 minutes. So go.
Good thing. Would you mind pausing the screen share and maybe spotlighting me for a second?
You can take the stage. Oh, show us. He's going to show us all the special sauce tonight.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a quick magic trick here. Just turn my Zoom background off real quick and get this up and running. So basically at TouchCast, we've been working with immersive video for 10 years now. And the first tool we built is actually the one I'm using to demo right now, which is a tool called Pitch, where it was built fully based on like presentational content for educators and for the news with like BBC. But quickly we started developing a relationship with Unreal Engine and with Unity and building out these whole kind of 3D virtual spaces, to use the right terminology from Lisa earlier. And these spaces would get used for things like virtual events and conferences. And so Accenture is one of our longest term clients. They're a go-to-market partner and investor. And with them, this is an example of a town hall where you've got 3 executives calling into the same kind of meeting from different parts of the world. And their experience is just Microsoft Teams, like similar to the Zoom call we're all on right now, where they don't need a green screen, they don't need an AV production crew, they just kind of light themselves and frame themselves so they look their best. And then we put them in a branded conference hall that has that big Accenture purple and their logo and their videos up on the big screen, and then place real people inside that set instead of their avatars. And that was a really intentional choice, because although we see a lot of value in metahumans and kind of where avatars are going, I think for B2B use cases, it's really important to get emotional kind of facial expressions and like feel like we're connecting people to people, especially for big executive broadcasts like this, where the messaging is so important that people retain it. And then also in more intimate scenarios, which is newer to us, we've started kind of exploring more kind of sales use cases. So I'm going to have this Microsoft Store pop up for a second, and then I'll play a video so you can see what it's like in a kind of real life example. But essentially, we can take a digital twin of a real retail store or a showroom for a virtual product or for a customer briefing or any sort of scenario, and then host this meeting inside of Microsoft Teams, giving the host the ability to control that environment. So if they want to do a product configuration, or they swap out the memory size or the colors, or kind of press play on a demo to show you a virtual story, you can ask them questions and have that guided experience with the host of your meeting. And so this will be huge for sales and B2C, but we also think it's going to be really important for training. Let's say you have 1,000 retail stores and you need to train workers all over the world. There's the ability to suddenly implement translations and standardize all of your presentational content in one place. The thing that I think makes this so important, and it ties into all of the other companies like Altspace that's about to talk, and other businesses that Lisa mentioned earlier, is that we're all kind of overwhelmed by virtual connection at this point, right? Like we're sitting on Zoom calls all day, every single day. We're on social media in between that. Like our virtual identity and our virtual kind of data points on how people see us has become more important than our physical version of ourselves in some ways. And you'd think that we would like tap out of that as much as we can, like go for a hike, get to the beach, get some sunshine, get out of all of it. But we still binge Squid Games, and we still go to the movies and see the new Marvel production and whatever's out, right? So people have the want for digital content, they have the interest for it, they have the stamina for it. Their expectations have just gone up. And as technical innovators, I don't think we've done a good enough job of giving that to them. In online gaming, we do that, right? And we do that in kind of high production entertainment. But when it comes to day-to-day business, that's just as important. And even outside of the metaverse, we're seeing that with things like Salesforce Plus and NetApp TV, and companies investing in higher end video content even to try and provide a more engaging message to their people. Our version of that just happens to be 3D worlds and kind of tying into the future of a more immersive internet. Another example that I thought would be important to show from my talks with Lisa and Billy earlier is the idea that the metaverse is not one directional. So I don't think the metaverse is just us going deeper and deeper into screens and living inside of a VR headset every day. I think it's just as important that we take the digital technology into the physical world too. Yes. And that's where AR wearables become so important. The idea of something like a holographic display on a podium like this, so a speaker can call in remotely into a physical world, or a 3D billboard like we're seeing a lot in Southeast Asia right now. Like, how can we take all of these amazing pieces of content, these incredible speakers from different parts of the world, and make it more accessible to everyone? And this is one of the things we've done to dabble with that. There's a lot more that's more kind of confidential at the moment that we're experimenting with, but hopefully some of that will be coming out sooner.
So hopefully everybody's getting it. You see that on the far left here, this is a podium at a physical event where it looks like a hologram behind that podium, right? And then what's happening in the middle there is, so, and that guy that's talking on the podium on the left is just sitting at home, right? The guy on the right is the exact same guy, still sitting at home, but being, ported into what looks like, a keynote, with a podium that's, built digitally. And so, this technology gives you the ability to be in multiple places and, at all at the same time, which is really quite fascinating. Really like the team integration also here, because it's today, it's right now. We're not waiting for anything. It's incredibly accessible.
I think
sorry, Ricky, go ahead.
No, thank you, Billy. It's awesome. You've seen this presentation enough. You could almost probably give the same exact
yes.
But there's 2 points I think are really important here too. One is the idea of accessibility. So to Lisa's point, this is not full on Web3, right? This is not the finish line. This is not the ultimate where we're going to be in 10 years. What we're doing is helping the executive decision makers take that first step of Web 2.1 or 2.5, where they can start to dabble in something more immersive than the same video call we've always done, where they don't need a VR headset, they don't need a gaming PC. 98% of people aren't there yet. Most of us on this call, we probably are, right? Like I've got my Oculus in the other room and I dabble with it all the time, but I see Spencer holding his phone up. I think that was the first big step towards the metaverse, is all of us every day started pulling these out and accessing content and interacting with each other in a different way.
I just want to give you props real quick, Ricky, for the little micro Twitch cast version of you in your screen. I think actually that's really kind of rad, because it would make me feel like, as I'm doing a share, it would make me feel a little bit less exposed than I do right now. Because there's this giant Spencer, and like if you guys are doing, single screen, I'm your entire, I'm in your, and you've got this. It's like this little Twitch video game cast thing, and I love it. It's really cool. I wish I could do that with my Sidecan.
How are you doing
to figure it out.
I was trying to figure out how you were doing that. Spencer, you must be thinking the way I do, because I was been as he's talking, I've been
I want to be
tiny.
That alone, Ricky, we all want to be tiny. So this it has some limitations, right? I can't control the environment. That one that he showed of the Microsoft Store, you know, I can't click around. I can't go anywhere. Ricky's controlling the entire, you know, environment from a viewer perspective.
Oh man, what's the context that your personal video data is going to be shown next to, and to who and to what audience? Like that control needs to happen as well. Like here's a cutout picture of Ricky, and now I've got that live video feed, and here I am over here doing something nefarious, and then Ricky's doing this nefarious thing, you know.
Oh, can all go bad and fast, right?
Well, and I think that's an important distinction for sure, because it's like there's a difference between like a guided experience and a free roam world, right? And I think there's value in both. Like I think you need both of those things to exist. And even like I just got back into gaming with all of this, like working in the metaverse and doing this all the time. I bought a PS5 and started dabbling again. And I was playing God of War, and I forgot how many cutscenes there are and how often they guide you to go press a button before you go break out and do your puzzle or the mission and all the fighting that you do. And it's really like a cinematic experience. And so I think that one of my customers actually said it this way. They were like, it's like you are making a commercial and just putting your employee and your customer inside that commercial together for a live interaction.
And having a live interaction. That's the beautiful part right there.
That's incredible.
I hope this isn't too salesy, by the way, guys. I'm a high energy person, so like I'm excited about it, but really I'm more, that's not why I'm here, right? Like I more just want to show off the tech and share ideas. So if I am, like Billy, just feel free to DM me, shoot me a little slap.
No worries, Ricky. No, I love it. I mean, you know, like I said, it has some limitations, but you know, for today, where we are in the enterprise space and for what we need, this opens up all sorts of things and solves a lot of issues we're currently facing, right? And so for that reason alone, it's a beautiful, beautiful model. Not quite yet a metaverse, but you know, we're just using Lisa's definition here.
Yeah, that's thanks, Ricky, so much for sharing that and giving us sort of the inside scoop with TouchCast. And Brett shared in chat that there's an upcoming, looks like an Intel event. Brett is sharing that will be built on TouchCast. So I guess that's interesting. And so just know that some nice big companies are starting to use this technology, and I'll be curious
to see
on the
metaverse calendar.
Yeah, get it on the metaverse calendar. Exactly. So hey, we've got 10 minutes, and this is where I break shit because we're going to go into alt space.
Hey, wait, before we hop into alt space, can we talk about Accenture real quick and what they're doing there? Because it really builds the story for alt space. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So very quickly, so the three kind of places that I'm seeing, you know, where right now where B2B communications professionals are actually leveraging this stuff effectively. Education and learning is a big one. And this is, I don't know how many of you have heard of Accenture's Nth Floor. But Nth Floor is, and I have a video here. Do I dare play it? Basically, the Nth Floor
play it. Come on,
okay.
Give it a
God,
try.
I hate playing video on these types of meetings. Billy's going to pressure me into doing it.
Yeah, come on.
Right,
it tells the story.
Okay,
we can talk over it.
Let's see if it works. I get nervous.
So let's keep in mind, guys, that there's only 100,000 people using Alt VR today.
Alt space.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, and so Accenture now is onboarding all of their employees with this build. They call it the Nth Floor. It's their virtual workspace, and they've trained 150,000 employees using this tool.
Digital replication of their campus, right? So you know where the bathroom is, you know where the cafe is, right?
It's an exact digital twin.
Walk around and interact with each other, right? Closed garden, though. This is not available to the whole world. This is 150,000 people that are being trained in alt VR, alt space. What are we calling it? Alt space, right? Right? They're moving around. They're moving around and they're talking to each other, right? These are brand new employees. That's 150,000 of them doing it today, right? And we see Alt VR only has 100,000 people in it. And it's like, okay, obviously the enterprise is using this and they're using it in a very different way. Again, Microsoft owns Altspace, they own LinkedIn, you know, they own all the pieces for something to really big to come together here. Very excited about it all.
Yeah, exactly. In this case, is truly mesh. They have integrated with teams from day one. You are hired at Accenture, you get your team's ID, and then you magically have access to create an avatar and this nth floor. So it's integrated with teams seamlessly, which makes it scalable and which makes it frictionless. You know, these are things that enterprise worries about. When you think about 150,000 employees trying to get them inside a tool like this, it would be a shit show if you were working with a startup or some company that didn't integrate with a tool you were already using.
I beg your pardon, ma'am.
I swear like a sailor when I get excited. I'll just warn everybody. So that's the first place that and you know, there's a ton of education that goes into B2B marketing, right? There's so many complex things that we're trying to teach people with really limited amount of real estate. And so I see this as being a place that will just continue to be something that we all think about moving forward. The next place is virtual events. We already talked a little bit about that. This is the example that I put in chat. If you want to see what a TouchCast event looks like, this is a great one to check out. That NVIDIA keynote's awesome. I highly recommend it, especially if you're not quite as technical as maybe Spencer and Chris, but it talks all about USD in a really kind of grounded way. So I found that to be an awesome one to watch if you're interested in this, and it's free and you just log in and watch it. And then the final example, mind-blowing networking. Billy and I went to this event years ago, but we're still talking about it. Why? Because it was truly mind-blowing. It was amazing. And I won't get too deep into the weeds here, but it's just another place. This was a B2B event. It was part of CES. iHeartMedia had Billie Eilish and Dua Lipa. And these are all, they're big hitter advertisers like Billy, who's spending millions of dollars. They got all these VIPs, over like 500 of them, to come into this 3D world where they live streamed the conference. And it was amazing. Your avatar was your video. It really promoted real networking. It was an amazing event. And to this day, it was one of my favorite immersive events that I've ever been to.
What was so cool about it was that they used your picture, they used your camera. You know, it was me walking around that environment and bumping into people I know, right? I mean, I just loved it. And then as I'd move closer to one group, I'd hear what they were saying and I could interact. And as I moved away from that group, you know, then I lost their conversation and moved on to the next group. And it was so big of a platform. There were so many places to go and so many different rooms to go hang out in, right? So if I found someone that I wanted to talk with, we'd just walk over to a private room. I mean, it was a beautiful environment that really made networking just, I mean, gold. It was almost as good as being there in person. And all these people were in New York, right? And none of us were face to face. I'm in Portland. And so, you know, it was really like, hey, I haven't seen you in 10 years. It's amazing to see you. It was so fun.
And why haven't we seen more of it, do you think?
Why haven't we seen more of it?
Question.
It's a great question,
Okay, I just,
Jane.
You know,
one more time, you guys really have to go check out Telly Club.
Okay, all right.
It's exactly that.
Okay.
I would say we've seen a bunch of derivatives of this though, right? There's probably like 40 startups, maybe 50 that are very, very similar. Just one of them is more like an old school pixelated Pokemon style game versus another more of the video like this.
So. They're popping up left and right. And I think to Jane's point, why aren't we seeing more people use them? It's because we haven't really settled on the one to use, right? And there's just so many options out there. And this is additive. Most of the companies, you know, that I work with are not really thinking about enabling networking, right, as the main kind of feature of what they want to do. It's just a nice side benefit, right?
You know, you kind of think about, I think when you said that, Billy, I thought of sort of like email, when email was sort of like one way. And then the networking was like IM, right?
Yep.
The instant messaging after email, you know,
Yeah, love it. So this is the eyesore, but this is the comparison chart. I'm happy to send out this deck after the fact for you guys if you want to double click on this. But to Billy's point, this kind of shows the monthly active users as compared to some of the other virtual worlds out there.
I was dissing Alt VR, you know, before knowing there was only 100,000. I'm like, why would anyone want to do anything in there if it's only 100,000 people, right? versus Decentraland, which only has 300,000 people. It's like nothing, right? It's like, what, why is anybody spending money here, right? But if you take it to the enterprise space and it's actually a closed garden, it's like, oh, this starts to make more sense to me.
Yeah, it does. It does. And there's, there's a lot of people in there that we as going to Campfire are not going to have access to. But that being said, we are really close to our hour. And this is where we break things. And typically I should just sign off now because, who knows what's going to happen here. But how many of you are, I'll just go, I'm going to start going. Billy, why don't you carry the convo while I start loading up AltSpace here.
AltSpace, and I would say anybody who wants to join us in AltSpace, come on in. We're going into what is it? We're going into
Campfire. We're going into Campfire.
Let's meet there. How many people have been in Alt VR before? Yeah, Chris. Oh yeah, Spencer. I'm not seeing any other hands. Isn't that interesting? And why go in there? There's only 100,000 people in there. But if it's going to be the enterprise solution of the future, we should all probably go in there and flunk around.
I think maybe some guardrails on how many people are in the room with you. It would be a good idea for designers too, because the last time I tried to have a conversation at even at a rooftop party with 50 people in it, it was hard for me to hear the person I was talking to because there was all of that conversation, so like yeah, look at that. There we go.
Yeah, that CES solution really fixed that, for me.
And on that note too, right? It's same thing that would happen in an actual party, right? If you go to a party where it's rooftop and you have all those people, it's kind of hard to hear the person next to you.
What? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Who's going to join us?
I have to go wash dishes. I seriously have to go wash dishes now.
Seriously have to go wash dishes. That's okay. I totally get it.
It was great to meet you all.
6 p.m.
Thanks for joining, Spencer.
And really come back monthly because we would love to continue the conversation with you. And things are changing so fast.
Yes.
I'd like that too.
Final Tuesday of every month. We'll do this on the 27th of September. So I'd love to see you again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Maybe we'll do AltSpace next time since we've run out of time. Lisa, what do you think?
I'm not going to commit to that. I'm not going to commit to that.
We have better things to go do next time. What do you want to do next time? Do you have a plan?
Let's start sourcing topics while I load this up. So I'm going to go to the main menu here. Billy, are you at least joining me? It's it's no fun to be in a social world without joiners.
Yes, I was going to go to the main menu and join you on Campfire. Let's see if I can find it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it was about a year or two ago. I attended a Microsoft meeting inside of AltSpace, and it was pretty cool. Like the speakers were avatars on the stage, and you were talking to people hanging out next to you. It really felt like you were co-present. You were there.
Isn't that amazing?
It was very cool.
Yeah.
Which kind of blows my mind. It's like all these metaverse conferences you keep hearing about, people are still meeting in person to talk about a metaverse conference.
And AWE has been so frustrating. It's like, okay, when are we really going to see stuff happening here?
Yes.
I mean, seriously, it's a trade show. You have such great opportunities. Drop AR everywhere. Why isn't that happening?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think a big step forward was at the MTV Music Awards. You really focused, you kind of leaned in heavily into that space. And so I think that's going to attract a lot of people into it. And hopefully from there, it fleshes into our work culture.
Yes, I agree with that. Lisa, I am here. Where are you?
I'm still loading.
You're struggling. We may not get there.
Oh,
well, guys, I have so appreciated the conversation. Ricky, I can't thank you enough for being a part of the solutions of today and really sharing that with the team. And I'm excited to attend the Intel conference later this year. That's going to be part of that too.
Where are you, Billy? Come to the teleportation station.
Yeah. So let me see here. I am in some land in Campfire. Somehow it dropped me in. So how do I get to that main screen?
So if you go to Campfire, those of you that may not be as familiar with AltSpace, you can see they have this teleportation station, which kind of allows you to teleport to some of the kind of coolest experiences in the platform. Campfire is the place where you might run into people and can have conversations. So every time I log in here, there are people here that are chit-chatting away. And it's very interesting people. It's typically business teams and business conversations that I overhear. I would say that, this is one of the most business focused kind of shared spaces that I have found in the metaverse, this campfire space specifically. But ironically, the places you can go here are very consumer focused. And one of my favorite places to go if you're plunking around, as Billy, I'd say plunking now from Billy's, one of her key lovely phrases, is, believe it or not, is Disneyland's Magic Kingdom. Disney has done an amazing job. And I don't know if you all have been here, but holy cow, I brought my students. So I teach this XR class for comms at UO, and I brought my students in, and it was so fun. We were in the immersive lab, and I'm like, okay, and they had the headset. This was like the real deal, right? This is 2D, but you can access it obviously with an Oculus Quest. And they went into Disney and they were just like, holy shit, they've got the fireworks are going, and you got the music, and you got the big castle that's like right there. So kudos to Disney. In my view, it was really an interesting space. They had a lot of valuable content in there. So I love that one. And Billy, I know you love, there's like Star Trek, like all the big franchises, a lot of them are here. And there's just some really interesting, weird stuff too. So super fun to explore, but it's pretty easy. You can just click on any of these that sound good and off you go. It does take a minute or two to load the content because it's pretty heavy. But I can amble around. So Billy, do you have any places that you want to?
Let's go into Disney.
Where are you? First of all, where are you?
I am just now in front of the teleport station.
You are? I don't see your avatar. Why do I not see you? I don't see you. I don't see you.
No.
Is that you over there? Are you waving, or is that someone else?
No, that's someone else. I'm not waving at all.
For this particular alt space, it is set up where it will do, say, virtualizations or basically parallel environments.
Yeah. So I'm not with you.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the case or not, but yeah, I'm thinking that maybe that's the case. Given lots of people in one environment, they'll try to replicate those.
Yep.
I know why. Yeah. Last I heard, it was like 64 people per space, and then you're right. They just spawn up a new space, so it's hit and miss.
Really, that's fascinating. 64. What an interesting number. I love that.
I think I'm in some weird version actually of the camp. I'm in a separate campfire actually. I'm in a but there's other places we could go to. We could go to the Zen Zone.
You're starting to break up.
Oh, of course I am. That's how it goes.
I'll tell you, Lisa, it's after 6. Let's let everybody go.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. But you get, everyone I think gets the gist, hopefully. And thanks so much for joining, everyone. We will send out follow-up notes. This has been recorded. You can always watch it again if you want to. And come at the end of next month, where we will have a whole new topic. And anyone who has thoughts on the topic, we are all ears.
Awesome. Nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thanks,
Chris,
guys.
thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Have an awesome night.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. All right. Woo. That was mostly new people that I've met.
There's a lot of new people. Let's stop streaming. That was awesome. That was fun.
That was awesome. That was so fun.